Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonja Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
Good evening. Happy first Wednesday of June 2025. Here I'm your host, Sonja, host of Prim and Proper Sports. I hope everyone has had an amazing day. I want to dedicate this episode to my great-grandmother, Emma. Her birthday would have been a couple of days ago. And to the class of 93, we are officially 32 years graduated today. So shout out to all my classmates of Red Springs High School and the whole Robeson County area. Make sure everyone downloads the Roku app so you too can be in the know for National Streaming Sports. We are live on this platform 24/7 without the cost of cable. That's always my slogan. Y'all, tonight, I am so honored and so blessed. And I'm going to be honest because you guys know how I am with everybody. I was actually super nervous because I have a blonde bombshell that will be introduced here shortly. And she is none other than an Emmy award-winning TV producer, all that good stuff. She is Deb Whitcas, multi-Emmy award-winning TV producer, sports journalist, content creator, made her first debut in her home city of Philadelphia at the age of 12 and has been in front of the camera ever since. Now, she's done everything, guys. I mean, ABC, CBS, WeTV, HGTV, you name all the major affiliates, she is there. And she also has her on podcast now, The Blonde Blitz, that she's following. She's a diehard Eagles fan, so make sure you show her some respect. And I'm going to bring her up so she can make us all look beautiful tonight. None other than Deb Whitcas, Sport Report. Deb, good evening, Deb. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
I'm so excited to be here, Sonja. And I have to tell you, so my grandmother was named Emma. So I love the fact that, your great-grandmother, my grandmother, both named Emma. Yay. We're both women in sports. This show is going to be amazing. That started
Absolutely.
off great.
You just gave me chills, and that is so awesome. Deb, she was made for us to connect here. And want to give a shout out to Renee Washington.
Yes.
Renee will be joining me in a couple of weeks. She's the reason why we are connected. And of course, want to give a heavenly shout out to Mac McGrath, our great producer, who is the reason why I'm connected with Renee. Of course, Miss Linda, we're still praying for you. But Deb, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know you are here with us for a brief moment because you just wrapped up some OTAs with the Rams camp.
Rams, yes. Just was there with media. There was 10 to 15 reporters, camera, and I got a little bit of scoop from OTAs. It was actually yesterday I was there, and I've been so busy I haven't gotten a chance to do my wrap yet, but got a lot of footage and a lot of interviews, and they'll be on my socials as well as on News Stitch Media as well.
Absolutely. I mean, that had to be really fun. I know we got a brief introduction before we started here tonight. So you're a Philly girl, of course.
Go Birds.
So congratulations are in order for your world champions. And I saw that Saquon has made the Madden debut for 26.
Yes, absolutely. How exciting for him. I mean, to go from the Giants and just, not a stellar career with the Giants there, and then come to the Eagles and just blowing up, and he feels at home, Super Bowl champion, and literally lights out. I mean, that back hurdle was just amazing. And, the fact that Madden picked that up, and I was like, oh my God, they're making him do it over and over and over again for the video. But, obviously a trooper, and he's a true athlete, really nice guy too. He's just a great speaker, nice nice guy. I got to interview him at Super Bowl, and
Wow.
yeah, he was. I mean, there's a ton of people around him at 20.
Yeah.
But you get a few questions in.
Yeah.
So yeah, just really well spoken, well poised, great athlete, and just all around great guy.
And good evening to the 1A Cheek Three Toes. That's Bistrilla over there. That's the Lions. They have their own podcast. And he's saying good evening to the both of us tonight,
Hello.
Deb. Of course,
Hello.
Bistrilla and he said, what up? No, right. He will be coming on with me tomorrow night, this time on the No BS show. It's a new premiere that we're rolling out here on Prim and Proper Sports. It's the No with the lowercase K, NOBS for Brian and Sonja's show, and I'm excited about that. Tomorrow night we'll break in on that. Deb, so much to get into here. Of course, you're an Eagles girl and you have followed. What is your most memorable? I guess there's probably so many. Of course, you're an Emmy Award winner. Like, what is that like? First of all, congratulations on that. That is
Thank you. Thank you. As far as like in my whole career, my most memorable part of life thus far, or
well,
does it have to be
football?
football?
Is big, and of course, sports as well.
Right.
Whatever you're willing to share.
We'll do both. So I think definitely my most memorable was my first Emmy, because that's it's kind of like what I worked my entire life for. I was 5 years old. I told my mom to get me an agent. She didn't, thank God.
Wow.
I was like, Mom, I want to do what those women on TV do. And so she basically told me, you know what, like when you're 18, you can do whatever you want, but you're going to be a child. But she, of course, put me in theater and put me in the dance classes and put me like I was a musical theater minor. I majored in TV. So yeah, like I kind of always knew. So I always wanted that Emmy. And I remember speaking with one of my colleagues just about life in general one time. And I was like, my one goal in life is to get one Emmy. And he looks at me and he goes, and I think I was probably 26 at the time. And he goes, Deb, in your entire career, you're going to get more than one Emmy. And I was like, really? And I was like, really? Like the concept was just so foreign, because, you don't always like, not everybody has one. Like
those are the kind of friends we need, though. Those that believe that, hey, it's going to get done no matter what. Even if you think it's tough, you're going to get it done.
Right. And then, so honestly, when our, the show name, it was Lucky, my first Emmy was Lucky Dog on CBS, Brandon Camillon is the host. And I also am a huge rescue girl. I don't know if you know that, but I actually have foster kittens right now.
That's so awesome.
So I do rescue work on the side, and I have my vet certification, or my vet assistant certification. So anyway, I'm a huge rescue girl, and the show was all about rescuing and rehabilitation for dogs and finding their forever home. It's been on for years now, but that was the first Emmy. And to hear the show's name announced as the Emmy winner, and we were actually up against Oprah, so we didn't. You know what I mean?
Okay, listen. Everybody is not beating out Oprah J. Winfrey. Okay,
right. So we were shocked, and then it was pure. I was actually filming. It was pure pandemonium at our table, and I like threw my phone to someone to like finish taping. And yeah, to be on that stage was so cool, to look out in the entire audience. And I just remember thinking, like, Deb, like, take this in, because like this doesn't happen all the time. You know what I mean? So it was pretty cool.
That is nothing to, as they say, sneeze at. And that explains why when you first logged on, my pup ran over right away, because he could sense, he knows vets and those people who really love fur babies. And so I didn't let him get on the camera, but he literally, as soon as you logged on, he was like trying to climb on me, and I just didn't let him get up here. He's a Yorkie poo, and he loves the camera. He does love the camera. I guess I could let him say hi. Lawson.
Yay. Mine's here too somewhere.
Where does he go? Nice. Lawson?
I have one of my cats might make an appearance. She loves the lights, so normally she comes. She usually comes on and jumps on while we're taping. But
he literally almost wanted me to beg him. It's crazy. He was sitting behind me.
Oh, he's so cute. Oh, he looks a little. Does he have a little bit of spaniel in him too? He's a mix?
Yeah, He's supposed to be Yorkie Poo, but I think he does because his body is long and
He
everything.
looks like a spot. He looks like I mean, I have a spaniel, so that's why I was like, he looks a little bit.
He'll be 7 next week.
Yeah. Oh, he's so cute. Hi. It's the ears.
Yes. So, okay, buddy.
Let's see if Cannoli will come over. Cannoli, come here.
Cannoli. And hello to Pink Fan Fur. Pink Fan Fur is the lady behind the reels and promos. She says hello to you, Deb. And she says hi to you, Lossie. And she's saying welcome to the All Things Football and Prim and Proper Sports. And she says for us to have a great show. Thank you so much, Pink Fan Fur, for your reels, your promos. She is the hype lady. She's so talented. And of course, she's a super fan of the Panthers. Now, Deb, before we hopped on here, we talked real briefly about who my team was. And, I kind of brought it up. Of course, the Eagles wanted this tush push band. Yep. And I've seen your stance on it. You're like, hey, stop them. It's a quarterback sneak. Right. It's been happening for years.
Right. What's different?
And I was like, well, that's what Cam said. If you don't want me dabbing in your end zone, stop me. And you were like, hey, I used to kind of follow them, a little bit. So let's back up just a scotch about this tush push. I know you're pro for it, because it's really not a tush push.
It's a quarterback sneak. Let's face it. Here's Olive. Like I said, everyone, this is my cat Olive. She jumps up. She loves the lights. Anyway, so now that there's a tail in my face, but the tush push. I mean, and like I said, I've said it several times now. Learn to stop it. And it's been around forever. It's a quarterback sneak when it comes down to it. And who was it? Landon Dickerson said it. I believe it was him. Said it at Super Bowl too. Like it's been around forever. Like we just have a little bit of a different take on it, and everyone just needs to learn to block it. And it's not, they can do it too. Like it's not it's not just the Eagles. The Bills have done it successfully as well. It's just other teams just struggle doing it, so therefore they're jealous and they want it banned.
Yeah, I saw who was it? Chris Jones for the Chiefs tried to make his body a sacrifice, and I don't know what type of lineup he was doing to block it, but he almost got it. He got himself injured or slightly injured.
Yeah, I remember that. And then also too, the Commanders kept on getting the penalties that one game.
Yes,
penalties in a row. And after a while, I was like, what are they doing?
Bistrilla said, Dan Campbell said, stop it. And that's coming from the Lions. I mean, and that's what it is. And now let's hear your Panthers story real quick, because I know you said you had at least a liking to us for a little bit.
Yes, no, I mean, I still do. But I was a bigger fan back in the day when it was, Luke Kuechly and CMC, Kyle Allen. I mean, who else? And Cam Newton. And I actually had a friend who played for the Panthers, so I used to follow you guys religiously. And I'll never forget. Actually, they came and played it was Eagles Panthers at the Link, and I was down on the field. And then I was actually at my family's seats as well. And I'll never forget, the Eagles were winning the entire game. And then in the last quarter, Cam Newton came back, the whole team came back and beat the Eagles. And I'll never forget, I was standing right by where Cam was running off the field. And he did that like Superman, with his mouth wide open when he goes,
yes.
And he ran, and I was like, God darn it.
Yes.
So, and that was actually the game that he got hurt in that kind of led to him retiring. I think it was was it his shoulder that he hurt, or was that because
he had a shoulder injury. Then we knew about that, and then all of a sudden we saw him at the airport in an ankle boot, and we were like, wait a minute,
that was preseason.
Yeah, so then he's still trying to get back out there. He never really officially retired. The Panthers gave him an opportunity to come back couple of seasons ago. But I mean, there's always us Panther fans out there. Of course, we love you, Bryce. If you ever see this podcast, we love you, Bryce Young. We love you, Andy Dalton. But if Cam were to come back, we would always welcome him back with that big embrace. And that was fun time.
I know. Have you met Cam before?
I have. And I met him twice. I met him twice. I met him in Nashville during the undefeated season. And I didn't realize that our seats were going to be so close, because I have a friend that she lives in Nashville and her family owns a business there. And we were outside the whole time, tailgating. And I go in, I'm like, girl, you didn't tell me we were sitting right behind the team. We should have been in here talking to the players, rather than sitting outside. And so I talked to him off a distance then, but then a couple of years ago, I live here in Atlanta and he's from Atlanta. Yep. I was in a restaurant and he came in. I didn't even see him. He walked right behind me, like to the point that he kind of brushed up against me. Oh, and a friend of mine was like, that was Cam Newton. I was like, oh my gosh, I thought that was 2 Chainz because he had his I hurried outside on the balcony where he was at. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I was like, listen, I met you in Nashville. I am the founder of the Carolina Panthers. He's like, oh yeah, I heard of your fan club. I said, yes, I was just wondering. He's like, would you like a picture? And he just took my phone and that picture is on my
Did you frame it?
I did not. I need to print it. You know, we're in such this digital time now that we think pictures are going to be forever and they're monetized on social media and everything. I mean, memorialized on social media and everything. Right. But I do need to print that. I just got to be honest with you, Deb, I got so disgusted with my team as a whole.
Yeah. After you guys have had a rough couple years. David Tepper's, yeah.
Okay, so you've been an Eagles fan for a very long time, and you know, like I said, you're coming from the OTAs with the Rams yesterday. Mm-hmm. I seem like Tepper has dialed it back quite a bit, and it seems more beneficial. You know, for the actually last season, we weren't the only team with not good record. Like we weren't the worst anymore.
I think you guys are going to have a winning record this season. I'm going to say
that's what everybody said. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I don't think Bryce Young is as bad as people make him out to be. I think I think you guys had a good draft, and you guys have some weapons now, and I think you guys are going to have a winning season. Are you going to make the playoffs? Probably not. But
well, we'll at least make the first round because we're going to win the South. We're going to make sure we beat Tampa Bay, the Saints, and the Falcons for sure. And you know,
might be tough, but
here's a Lions fan saying 10-7. That's Brian. He's already told me 10-7. I'm saying, let's see. I'm counting us on losing 4, maybe 5 games. I'm being real bold.
Okay.
Now, speaking of records, the schedules, of course, came out the end of May. And it almost looks like the Eagles, you know, when you're the greatest, you have a tougher schedule coming in. You guys are kind of going from, you know, being the hunters to like the hunted, but I didn't see the reunion with Kansas City that I was looking for.
Well, it's the Eagles' second game is Kansas City. So Dallas is first.
I wanted them to be first was what I was saying. I should have clarified.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I wanted it to be first too. I wanted, you know, to see that matchup and, you know, hopefully we would beat them again. But NFL thought Dallas was the game. And I don't disagree with it. Dallas Eagles are huge rivals. And I don't like, and I said this in another podcast. What has Dallas done this offseason? Really nothing.
Oh my goodness. First of all,
this is the second offseason they've done nothing. I mean, besides extending Micah Parsons, which obviously is the correct move here. But
they haven't. Have they paid him as of today? Because he's still holding out for this contract negotiation.
I thought it was a done deal, but
he's holding out because it's the end of his rookie contract. Now, if you might know, because Deb, you're out there in these streets and you know, you keep your ears glued to the teams, and maybe you have some information that hasn't hit mainstream yet. But as of 6 o'clock, I didn't have that on my last podcast. But he's been holding out. I'm going to tell you, Dallas fans are, you know, for people who have religious beliefs, they are sure shots for going to heaven because they have the faith of a mustard seed. Every season, they are so committed.
They can talk some smack too. It's amazing.
How you have not had. Listen, I started the show talking about tonight is 32 years that I graduated high school. It's close to the last time the Cowboys were winning. They won in 95. I graduated in 93. They're getting very close. Matter of fact, this is their 30th year.
It's wild. They haven't put, and Dak always chokes in the playoffs. It's amazing to watch every year.
Always. Everybody coming in. Welcome my beautiful co-host here tonight, Sport Report. Deb, let us know how to find you on all the socials.
Absolutely. So my podcast is The Blonde Blitz. So we're on all socials at The Blonde Blitz. X is actually Blonde Blitz Pod. Also, you can find me at Sport Report Deb. Also Deb Whitcas on Facebook, and look for me actually now on SI.com as well. Just started doing some on-camera reporting and writing for SI.com. And yeah, I'll be out and about at OTAs and training camp this start of the season.
I absolutely love that. While you're speaking on that, someone put a comment in here, so hang on. It looks like I'm trying to make sure, because you put a hint out there, and someone in the comments is hinting
the whole
toward
Cowboy team chokes in the playoffs.
Yes, but it
you're
looks
right.
like
They did.
Okay, not yet, not as of yet. Yeah, they traded him for Pickens.
Yeah.
And then they choke in the playoffs. That is big that you're on SI. Like, take me with you, Deb. I will do whatever. I'll be your sister.
I get you.
That's really big, though, honestly. Women in podcasting, women in sports is a really big thing. And it's something that should definitely be saluted, because, we are here. We love sports. Yep. We are part of a larger audience now. We see even the WNBA taking off. Caitlin Clark coming in, Angel Reese putting a whole spin on everything and rising to a whole new culture. What is your thoughts on seeing the maturation of that game, and how much longer do you think it would take for it to become even more mainstream, like maybe even akin to at least close to the NBA itself?
It's great to see, you know what I mean? Just women in sports as a whole. And that's honestly the reason why SI.com reached out to me, because I do have more of a background in women in sports and can spotlight, article subjects and articles. It's actually what I'm doing this weekend. I'm going to be in San Diego covering the She's a Baller flag football, women's flag football. There's 21 colleges that are there to recruit these women. It's a combine. So we've got the best of the best coming to this combine to compete and show their stuff and show their skills. And I'm really excited to cover it. So
that is absolutely amazing. And to know that you will be a trailblazer, being the first to come up with this great event, because they'll always be able to look back for many years and know that you were part of the inaugural portion of that.
Yeah, I'm just covering it. It's actually it's Jen Welter, who's the first female coach of the NFL. She was coach for the Arizona Cardinals. She's one of the ones involved in it. So she had called me and said, "Hey, like, come on out and cover this." Working along with her PR, Kim Francis, as well. So and I'm sure I'll meet the rest of the crew when I'm there. I know it's a collaboration of great athletes and coaches who are going to be there. So.
Yeah, that right there, when she got the job for the Cardinals, I was elated. I felt like, it started with us reffing, and now we have, a coach actually there. How far do you think we are from, I've heard rumblings over the years. In fact, I had someone years ago reach out to me about basically all women's flag football team that could be kind of akin to what we have now as the UFL and things of that sort. Mm-hmm. How far away do you think we are from something like that?
I think we're a couple years away. Maybe 3 to 5 years away.
That's
maybe
pretty
not
close.
Even. It's pretty close. And also too, I just did a story on softball. And there's a pro women's softball team that is now coming together and playing for the first time this summer. So that's amazing, because, after these women softball's huge in the US too. And, these women, they play from such a young, I played softball too, just from a young age. And then after college, there's nothing. So, then now there's a pro league that they can play in. So it's amazing to see this evolution.
I literally just saw earlier today that there was a young lady who is going to be the first $1 million NIL deal for softball. Awesome. And I could not get her name. I was trying to think. It was an article. You know how you see an article and then you go back and then you don't see it again? It was one of those things. And I was like, it was young lady. She's going to be the first softball player with $1 million NIL deal. So that's really big. Hello to you, Lynn. Good evening. Good evening. Lynn. And yeah, so Pink fan first saying hello to Lynn as well in the house. There a lot of big things you got there going on, Deb, and it's a super exciting time. You got OTAs now. Are you traveling to any other teams?
I probably will do the Chargers training camp But for OTAs, I'm just going to stick with the Rams. If I can make it to something with the Eagles, I definitely will. I'm figuring out that schedule right now. I'm going to be in Philly at some point, so I'm hoping it's during, and I can get into a practice or into into something or into the training camp. But we'll see. I haven't, that work in progress.
What are the Rams looking like out there? I mean, I know they had a pretty good draft. I mean, they've been talked about off and on a little
pretty
bit.
good, and I'm a little worried about them, to be honest, because they just got Devontae Adams as a wide receiver. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is no longer with the team, but they just got Devontae. He was not at OTAs yesterday. I don't know why, but Puka Nakua's picking up slack. We actually interviewed him. He's roaring to go. He feels like his role in the room, the wide receiver room hasn't really changed much, but he's trying to, he's just trying to build on what he did, in the previous years. So he seemed pretty confident, and the coaches seem really confident in his abilities too. He talked very positively about Devontae being in there and being already, a great part of the team. I've heard Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams already have a great connection. I saw the three quarterbacks doing some throwing yesterday. They looked great. Stenson Bennett, super excited for him to get out there.
Yes.
The coaches they talked a little bit about him as well. And they said they're really proud of him and what he's putting forward. Jimmy Garoppolo is Jimmy Garoppolo. You know what I mean? He looked great out in the field too. They did do a little 11 on 11, and did offense defense, and they looked good. Stafford didn't participate in that. It was just Garoppolo and Bennett. But the guys were hyped. Everyone was yelling and cheering, and it was a good time. They did some drills. A lot. The O-line worked out a lot. We had some special teams that were kind of special team players that were kind of just working out by themselves. So yeah, it was a great hour and a half practice that I got to watch.
That's awesome. And congrats to Pink. She says her nephew, Kanate Munfield, was drafted by the Rams as well.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'll look him up. I have my roster in the bag. It's in my bags.
And hi, Tanya. It's my friend from back home. Hello, Tanya. And Robert Wardell says, "Go Hawks!" Hoping Coop pans out for us. And Deb is jumped off here to try to get some straightening with the news going. Let me make sure real quick.
My roster.
Oh, she's got a whole roster. Yes, no.
Wait, what?
Last name is Munfield. Munfield. First name Kanate or Kanate. Kunate.
There he is. Oh, he's I have rookie. So yeah, he looks great.
Yes,
he looked great. I had my eye on him actually. I was doing my research. Yeah.
See, there you go. Got it right up here, nice. Right here from front and center. She's the eyes on the sky, and on the ground. And I definitely hope that you get a chance to look at your own team, the Eagles. I know that's a bi-coastal thing for you because you're on the West Coast, so you have to definitely make sure that fits in with your schedule and the travel time and everything, because that time difference is no joke. And everything. And I know that now what else you have planned coming up this week, sports related? You going back to the OTAs tomorrow?
I'm going back next Tuesday. So there's another media day on the 10th. And then what else do I have coming up? I'll probably be at ESPYs in July, training camp in July. Might be actually at the Kids' Choice Awards too. That's coming up on June 21st. There's a lot of athletes that are going to be at that one. So I'm excited to talk with them on the red carpet, and just kind of prepping for Blonde Blitz, and for some different segments there. So I'm excited to get that all together. Just kind of plan it. It's off season still, so you take this time to plan, and then I know I've can you see it right?
Yeah, that's Brian. He knows, and Pink says thank you for that plug.
I have to get a new chair.
Yeah, Pink says thank you for that. Letting her know know about your nephew, about her nephew. Oh my goodness, I'm getting tongue tied here.
Great.
Yeah. All right. So that sounds really big, Deb. And I know you got a lot going on. Let me, as we get ready to wrap up, because I know you have to hop off, but I'm going to continue on, ladies and gentlemen. So don't leave. I'm just being respectful of Deb's time. She's super busy. When you were doing production and things of that nature on like HGTV, WeTV, are those regular TV shows, or were those sports affiliated as well?
No, so that was just regular. So I come from an unscripted background. I actually still do work in unscripted. I'm the co-executive producer of iCrime with Elizabeth Vargas. And
Oh, no. Yes.
iCrime with Nancy O'Dell. So I'm
Yes.
on both of those. And then I do sports when I can. So a lot of sports though. And yeah, so I like I said, I come from an unscripted background. I started in talk and, did Jerry Springer and Dr. Drew and Dr. Phil and all of those shows. And so I HGTV was great. I did House Hunters, and I've probably done about 30 shows now.
Oh, yes.
My career, makeover shows, house shows, talk shows, magazine shows.
You are the plug for everything I'm interested in. I'm gonna DM you my number. I know we have our socials and we connected on Instagram and everything, but I'm gonna send you my actual personal number so I can get everything together. Yeah. I'm in law school and I'm always watching those crime shows and everything. And of course, I told you my genuine love of broadcasting as well. But everybody is super thankful. Pink wants to close out by saying Deb Whitcas, she's a diehard Alabama football fan, and
her Dickerson Smith. You know what? Like Bama, Ohio State, like Georgia, like that's. Boom. Like that's football right there.
And Dee said, of course, multi-talented threat. You definitely are, Deb. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. And Deb, just know you have an open invitation. Thank you so much for making the time to meet with me. Absolutely stunning and just awesome as you are. And we wish you a good night and enjoy those OTAs. And I'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds good. Go Birds.
Deb Whitcas, everybody. Sport Report with Deb. Good night, Deb.
Good night.
All right, guys, that was Deb Whitcas. I'm so excited that she was able to join me on tonight. Such a blessing to have her. Let's go ahead and take a 30-second break here to give the Huddle Sports Network our affiliate.
Yeah, yo, it's game time. Ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook, YouTube, where the action's slick. Daily shows that drop like a bomb. From 10 to 11, it's Ken and Ken, stay calm. Huddle up, catch the vibe, feel the rush. Get your news, get your fills in the clutch. Over 27 podcasts, we breaking it down. Join the team, Huddle Sports, wear the crown. Live every weekday, it's how we roll. Lions Talk with Jeremy B, we taking a stroll. From 11 to 12, don't miss a beat. We break down the game, make the info sweet. The Daily Huddle Podcast, noon to 1. CST Zone, we're just having fun. Toss your doubts, we bring the facts. Tune into the Huddle.
All right, and welcome back to the second half of Prim and Proper Sports. Thank you so much again for Deb stopping by. Deb Whitcas, Sport Report. Deb, you guys see, she is literally a triple threat, just like Bistrilla said earlier. Producer, sports announcer, sports podcaster, everything. Emmy Award winner. She is literally the epitome of an amazing woman, and she's all the way on the West Coast and made time for me tonight. So thank you so very much again, Deb, for joining me. Thank you, Bistrilla. I appreciate you. As always, supporting me, brother. Love you and thank you so very much. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and have some more news coming up here the next 20 minutes. And if you're late coming on, this show will re-air at 9 p.m. For the encore presentation, so that you can catch the first part of Deb and I sitting down talking. Now, let's talk about a little bit of hockey news. The Panthers and Oilers are getting ready for their final game. Of course, my Hurricanes are out of it. So Oilers, Edmonton Oilers, that is, the Canadian team, looks like they may be the formidable team to go against the Florida Panthers, who are the defending champs. And so that game, that final game, is about to kick off here soon. Texas faces star pitcher Najari Kanade and Texas Tech in Women's College World Series finals. Deb talked to you a little bit about that before she hopped off of here, talking about how women's softball is really taking over. Got some NIL deals out there right now. One lady gracing the platform with the first $1 million NIL deal in softball history. And let's talk about a little bit about the fact that Tom Thibodeau is no longer with the New York Knicks. Now, you guys know the Pacers are known for getting rid of opposing teams' coaches right after they have been fired. You guys, unless the Knicks hire the Pacers or the Thunder's coach, it gets no better than Tom Thibodeau. He literally led this team out of the last 6 seasons 5 times to the playoffs. But his coaching style has been criticized. Even I've talked about it here on the show with some of my other colleagues about the fact that he did not rest and bring his bench in, but your bench really was not that talented. Had to basically bank on his veterans the entire time. And the president of the organization just didn't like that. So right now, the Knicks are on a search for their next coach. Now, Danny Hurley's already said, hey, I'm not interested, even though his name was amongst the talks, because he is the UConn Huskies coach and he has an interest in staying there. You got Wolf coming up as another contender. People have even talked about Jalen Brunson's dad, which there's no way, guys, that's going to happen. Or either Coach Brown. So the verdict is still out. You guys know how I like to always say that. But the Knicks were unhappy with him for some reason or another, and he is out. But guess what? They still have to pay him because he had just completed a contract with them. Let's talk about some other NBA news. Now, the trade season is coming up real soon. The draft is the end of this month, June 25th and 26th. And now that the finals are over and now we're at the championship level of a game, it's basically going to be this. Giannis Antetokounmpo's name has been coming up in so many segments of being traded with different teams. He's been linked with the Knicks. He's been linked with the Warriors. It's no telling where he goes, but his name, once again, is also coming up, even with Kevin Durant and as much as Cooper Flagg. Now, Cooper Flagg, of course, the number 1 draft prospect projected to go to the Dallas Mavericks for the first round. The thing is whether or not they actually are going to keep him or trade that pick. Now, it's highly unlikely that they will. And hello, Shakti. I hope you're doing well today. Thank you so much for joining me. Najiri Kennedy is not only the best pitcher in softball, she's also made history. So she's the one. I couldn't think of the name earlier. Thank you, Brian. She's the one I kept talking about who got the $1 million deal. Najiri Kennedy, definitely getting it done. Hang on, guys. My plug failed. I definitely don't want my stream to end because plug came out. All right. Yeah, Najiri Kennedy. So congratulations to her. $1 million deal. And okay, Shakti, that's cool. You don't like the NBA. All right, guys. So anyway, big news out of that. And I don't know what it's going to take, but these people that are basically saying that the trades are coming up, it's going to just depend on, no one knows. Everything is a guess at this time. No one knows until, as they said, the rubber meets the road. But I think the draft will have a high impact on what teams decide to do, unless they feel like they're going to go ahead and trade Giannis beforehand. But the verdict is out and we shall see. Let's talk about a little NFL news, guys. You know, that's my favorite topic. But before we do, we got the Pacers and the Thunder facing off tomorrow for the first game. Of course, the Thunder is projected to be lightning fast, and the Pacers are probably exhausted because they've had to play so tough offensively in the last couple of matchups. But Tyrese Halliburton and all his crew, you know, he's going to have to be the leader of that Pacers franchise, and he's going to have to stand up against SGA. 4 Canadians, y'all, are in the finals, 2 apiece for both teams. So I'm sure all of Canada is watching as this goes down. Now let's look at the NFL news. Unfortunately, Donald Prim Jr., the newest tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers, suffered a torn Achilles tendon during OTAs on Tuesday, and this is likely going to be ending his 2025 season. You guys know that's a year-long recovery, if not more. Basically, it occurred during a practice session, and it's going to be pretty impactful for the Steelers. And you guys know they still have not signed their quarterback. That fiasco is still out. No one knows what's going to happen. And I don't even know at this point if it even has a difference with this injury with Donald Parham. He signed with the Steelers in February of this year and was competing for a roster spot. So he hadn't even made the final roster yet, but he was going to be a backup tight end. Now his injury does create a big void for them, and it renews now the Steelers have an interest in Miami Dolphins tight end Jonnu Smith. So look for some trade around going around that part. He's only 27. I'm talking about Parham. He's been in the league for a couple of seasons, so we'll just have to know. Speaking of leagues and not doing what they have to do, Micah Parsons in Dallas, we talked about that a little bit when Deb was on, is holding out for this rookie contract. If he gets this contract, he's going to be the highest non-paid quarterback in the league. Now, he's their edge rusher, linebacker. He's only 26 years old. But he is elite. He's come in, even though the Cowboys themselves have not made a solid playoff push. And in fact, this is what I forgot to tell Deb. The fact, like she said, they haven't done a lot. The fact that they only moved Schoppenheimer up for their head coach position after they got rid of Mike McCarthy and didn't even go out to try to find a talent to get the head coaching position lets me know that they just were not doing that much. Now, they got to wait for Dak to come back from his injury, see what he looks like after coming back. That's a go figure. No one knows. But Micah Parsons has been selected to be in the Pro Bowl all 4 of the seasons that he's actually been here. So he's Defensive Rookie of the Year for 2021. All-Pro honors, 52 and a half sacks, which is extremely high for the level he is in the league, and 256 tackles, 172 of them by himself with 84 assisted, 4 fumble recoveries, and 4 forced fumbles. Now, this is the last year of his rookie contract, and guys, he has proven with those stats that he deserves his contract. His last 5th-year option is valued at $24 million, a little bit over that. And they're looking at him. I think some pundits were saying they wanted him to get 5 years, $200 million for 5 years. That's what they're looking at. And so, I mean, if they come up with that money, that's going to be pretty big. But I'm going to tell you like this. This is a copycat situation. He saw CeeDee Lamb do this last season, and CeeDee, of course, held out for training camp and all this stuff. And, you know, basically only their executive vice president had to get involved and was basically like, you know, I'll let you know when it happens. But some things to be concerned about, at least in my opinion, is even though he performed extremely high, he has had a high ankle sprain just last season. Week 4, as a matter of fact, early in the season against the New York Giants, their division rivals. He missed 4 games, and that was his first significant absence due to the injury. Now, he did have, you know, some frustrating moments because he really felt like before that injury that, you know, he was invincible, like nothing or nobody could touch him. Then, of course, he was ill in December, but he basically played through it. He is the cornerstone of that defense, and if they don't get him some money, I don't know what anybody could possibly do. Like, how do you? No one's going to pay him $200 million unless it is the Cowboys. At least I don't think so. But I could be wrong. Let's see what's got. All right. Yes, Pink Fanfare, of course, chiming in. Jimmy Horn Jr. hamstring injury. Listen, Jimmy Horn Jr., akin to JC Horn. We are trying to figure out just where he's going to plug and play. We need him to make sure that this offense takes off. You heard Deb say it here earlier, and, you know, some other people. This is the season that the Panthers are going to turn it around. There's no way in the world that we are going to be able to start getting injuries like we have now in the OTAs very early on and not do what we have to do. We got a couple of we got our season opener against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's going to be big. Cat versus cat. That is interesting because whenever you look at each of the teams that we're playing, we can actually beat those teams. We can win the South. I mean, I'm pausing here because I know some people don't agree with that, but we can. We really can beat the South. We've had some really close games with some of the South contenders, even when we were not where we are. I mean, last season we were 5-12, and the season before that, we were not even that good. But this is the thing. Dave Canales has been the quarterback whisperer for our team. David Tepper has been less hands-on and allowing coaching to do what they need to do. Even though the fact that we may not be, I'm going to be honest with you all, we may not be all the way Super Bowl ready. We are definitely contenders for the NFC South. We have a legitimate shot at competing for the division title, even though the division is not the best. A lot of people are saying we may go 9-8. Hey, we will take it. That's right at 500. I'm going to be bold. I'm saying we are only losing 5 games this season, and none of them will be to the NFC South. Now, Greg Allman of Fox Sports is predicting we will go 7-10, which only gives us a 2-game improvement. Y'all know that is a joke. That is a joke. So right now they have us the over under 6.5 or 7.5 wins, which is decent because that gives you the split of the entire schedule. If you're giving us 7.5 wins, you're getting us almost at the halfway mark of 9 games. But we know that's pretty much going to be what it is. Let me tell you, Bryce Young has really developed, y'all. His 3rd season is going to be that defining season. This is the make or break season for Bryce. Of course, we re-signed Andy Dalton, so we're keeping him there in the helm. But look at how Bryce finished at the end of last season. Look at how in week 10, and there was another week that he was ranked the number 1 quarterback in the league for pass completions and his rating for that particular week. So he literally has constantly improved. This is where it gets tricky. When the season starts, we can't afford to have a digression of any sort. We need him healthy. We need him on fire. We need him confident, just like he was towards the latter part of last season. During the draft, the Panthers added new offensive weapons. They got T-Mac. We're looking forward to him doing what he does, the Hawaiian Stallion, okay? Offensive linemen Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis are also going to be boosting our offense. One downfall, I was really looking forward to seeing what Jonathan Brooks was going to be bringing to our team. However, Jonathan is out for this entire season because last season he was prematurely cleared to participate and then had another significant injury of the Achilles. And so the Panthers cleaned house of their medical staff. There's no more medical folks there from last season because they felt like they were the ones that blamed them to, bring him back too early. And so now we got to wait on him another season. Hopefully they'll wait on him and let him come back. Our defense, which years ago was known to be pretty good, it kind of fell off over the last few years. But you got E doing our defensive coordinator. They brought him back. Highly regarded, and we made additions during the draft and some veterans during the offseason to make sure our defensive line and our secondary was on point. Not only that, when you look at the third factor of this, we have a favorable schedule. I mean, even some of our former quarterbacks have even looked at this schedule and said that it was very favorable. Panthers are entering the season with higher expectations, despite having even some more injuries, Tommy Tremble being one of them. Yes, Pink, back surgery. Don't know how long he's going to be out with that, but back surgery is always pretty serious. But this Panthers team is the truth, and everyone has got their all eyes on what's going to happen with this team going forward. And I'm sure that it's going to be an amazing season. I cannot wait to get to the season, and I cannot wait to basically tell everybody I told you so. All right. So, of course, you got other teams to look at. All OTAs everywhere. Justin Jefferson coming in, committing to Minnesota, of course, fully participating in the offseason. with the new quarterback, J.J. McCarthy for the Vikings. This is critical in building that chemistry between J.J. and the other J.J., Justin Jefferson and J.J. McCarthy, because this is the first time we've seen the rookie quarterback come out and take the field. And the Vikings have not really been sold on who their starting quarterback was, except for to verbally say J.J. McCarthy would be their quarterback. We didn't see them, they got rid of Sam Darnold. I don't want to say get rid of, they traded him, but Sam was like their veteran. So JJ's coming in there, teeth to grind, getting it done. Christian McCaffrey, the San Francisco 49ers running back, has returned to practice. Christian will always be in the hearts of us Panthers fans. They said he's showing no ill effects from the Achilles and knee injuries that sidelined him for much of last season. His health has taken a major boost, and congratulations to him. He got married and all that good stuff, and hopefully they can bounce back from that 6-11 record that they have. Let's look at the Jets. Josh Reynolds, Jets wide receiver, is talking about how tumultuous 2024 was for him. He had that hand injury, and even with those bullet wounds from being shot, he was just blessed and excited about being back on the field. So welcome back to him. So glad that he has recuperated and is returning to the Jets locker room. Quentin Johnston, the Chargers wide receiver, is coming back for a third season, basically talking about how he's improved and he's ready to work and show that he can do better in the next season. Then let's look at this. Now, as if injury to add insult to injury, no pun intended, Kyle Pitts of the Atlanta Falcons, Falcon fans have been disgruntled with him, to say the least, for a little bit. Well, now he's dealing with an injury, and the team is taking extreme caution with him during the OTAs. They're really not even saying exactly what that injury is, but who knows? Hopefully Kyle will be okay. I thought he was on the chopping block to be traded, but maybe not. Of course, we've talked about some new coach quarterback duos that are going to be starting. Of course, 13 NFL teams will enter the 2025 season with either a new head coach or a starting new quarterback, y'all, or both. That is big. This includes the Chicago Bears under new coach, offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, now coach, and others looking to make significant strides. The Pittsburgh Steelers released their training camp schedule, and their quarterback situation is still the main storyline, guys. It's an ongoing story with Aaron Rodgers, and y'all know how I feel about that. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is putting up numbers really big in the OTAs alongside veteran Joe Flacco with the Browns. But Flacco is like, hey, I'm nobody's mentor. I'm just here to play ball. And then if you look at it, mandatory mini camps have kicked off. These are coming off here real soon. It's 3-day sessions, compulsory for many players. And we have players like Trey Hendrickson that are still basically saying they're going to hold out for these contracts. So even as things are going on, training camps, things of that nature, workouts, we still have these contracts that are still up in the air. They got joint practice teams that are going on right now with the Falcons hosting the Titans. So kudos to them to doing that. That means the Titans are coming down to Flowery Branch, Georgia, where the Falcons actually practice. And this is just a big off-season time. It's a big time. There's a lot of contract negotiations still going on. It's still a lot of developing young talent. We're still looking at Shiloh down in Tampa Bay. He's doing decent. Undrafted free agent that was drafted, of course, undrafted right after the draft was over with. Shedeur, his brother, looking, respectable in Cleveland. And the news just carries on and on and on. Before I get off of here, I do want to talk about today the Purple People Eaters, Minnesota Vikings. I talked about this a little bit earlier on another podcast. Jim Marshall, 87 years old, of the 1970s, 1964, 19 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings, passed away on yesterday at 87 years old. Of course, he's known for his defensive 65-yard run the opposite way into the wrong end zone. Of course, it was a safety for the 49ers, who went on to win that game October of 1964. but he was so beloved. He even had a homeless charity that he started off season. He played 19 of his 20 seasons in the league with the Minnesota Vikings. Number 70, of course, his jersey number, retired in their Ring of Honor. Thoughts and prayers, of course, to his family, friends, and the Minnesota Vikings franchise, organization, and all that good stuff, as he has made his mark in history as one of the highest ranked defensive ends in NFL history. And with that, guys, we were going to dedicate tonight's show in honor and memory of my great grandmother, Emma. We thank again Deb Whitcas for coming on and joining me. Thank you, everybody, Pink Fan Fur, for the promotion, for the likes, loves, and shared by everyone who's come on tonight. And this show will re-air at 9 p.m. So here in about the next 4 minutes, it will re-air. So if you missed the first part with my sit down with Deb, please join me. And if not, I will see you all on Friday with the Fellas. Prim and Proper Sports presents. And with that, I will bid you all a good night.